Business Pro Tip Wednesday. Guys, I'm doing it late tonight. If you never like, subscribe, or followed our channel before, I want to definitely tell you, don't forget to hit the bell icon. That way you can get the latest content as we upload it. Tonight, I'm doing a show at a historical late time. I've never done the show this late before, but I decided today that I would do so. And that's because I wanted to take the opportunity to actually try something different, seeing what it's like. I said, I normally do doing the show during the daytime, and actually, I wonder what would it be like to actually shoot a show late at night. Unfortunately, I chose to do the same time as late night TV versus doing it between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. I just want to go ahead and get it out there. So one, I want to thank everybody who decided to join today, sit back and learn. I'm going to talk about the difference between marketing and then spending money to get attention. And I say that because for most of us as entrepreneurs out there and that we're operating a business, there's a couple things that we make the mistake about. For example, we don't really anticipate when we first get into business the way we actually allocate those funds. I've made the mistakes. You most likely you probably have as well. And what are those mistakes that I'm actually referencing? Those are mistakes that when you start a business, you automatically say, "What is the criteria in order for me to be able to start getting clientele?" Well, let's just talk about first what is actually a business, at least in the United States of America. Uh, be classified as a business in the United States of America, you got to have three things. One, you got to be able to have a business, either a sole proprietorship license or a legal entity license. That's either you got a C Corp, an LLC, or you went and you may have a general partner, limited partnership that you might have got at the local city. That requires to have a legal entity name that is registered in your local county or city or in your state. After we get past that part, then you say, well, I got to have an EIN from the IRS. After you get an IRS, you have to establish a bank account and at least open it with $1. Some bank accounts today allow you to open it with $0, but in a matter of 30 days, you need to put money in it or they will close the account. So that's what makes the business a valid business. You got to have those three things: a legal entity name, whether in a local county, whether it's your city, or in the state. That's how you got to do it. Have a bank account, EIN. Now, you're ready to start your business. You would say, well, I need to go out and I need to get some marketing material. Wait a minute. Let's halt the bridge on that one, because this is how people make fundamental mistakes. People start businesses and they actually believe that when I start my business, I have to go out and do marketing. The problem with marketing is that they're spending the money in order to get attention. They're not actually spending the money in order to generate a profit. You may say, well, how could you say that? I went out and I got business cards. Now, let me just explain. A business card, when a person goes out and get a business card, it's the same ideology of think of it in this regards. When you first start networking, you go out, you meet people, you go to different events, you start networking. Networking, consider finding like-minded people or in the same ministry and do the same thing that you do, or at least familiar or complement the skills that you bring to the table. That's what networking is. Networking is not partnering. It's not actually developing a relationship where a person actually, you have a joint deal between your business and their business, and you go out and you make revenue accordingly. That's not what networking is. It's actually exchanging cards. So let me give an example. You can go out there right now, and if I'm not mistaken, I remember I got some cards before, and when I got some cards, I got it done cheap. I went through um, a Vista Print, and when I went through a Vista Print, I believe I got 500 cards at a time on a deal where they end up being like 66 cents each. I didn't get a lot printed, but it was like 66 cents each. Okay. Now, just think about it. Every time you give somebody a business card, you're giving away 66 cents. I continue to tell clients, I continue to tell people on YouTube, you say, well, I got to get a business card. Now we have link trees and you have those digital footprints for cell phone, but you'll still find occasionally people ask me, do you got a card? Or people go out and they pay flyers. So let's do the same thing. A door flyer could be anywhere between 35 cents to about 77 cents for a door flyer. Now I'll go back and I ask the same question again. If you get that door flyer, what are you actually doing? So if I take the total amount of dollars, and I'll use this as an example, 200 in the local zip code here in the area. If I go to zip code 68127, I'll go to zip code 681 68 yeah 68511 for 200 local residents that live in that zip code, or maybe your zip code. You can find out by checking out U.S. Postal Service and finding out what does it cost to send out information through the U.S. Postal Service. You'll find out that Hey, listen, I went out and I spent $296. I'm going to send out 200 flyers based on the size of the flyer, postcard size, smaller or bigger, the mailing that's in full color. You may find that it costs you $1.48 per person that you mail it to. What does that mean? That means that I'm literally giving away $1.48. So there's two choices you can make. You can take the position to say, instead of me actually taking $1.48 and converting it into a paper item, maybe I just go to that person's house and give them the cash. It will impact them. They can use it. They won't take $1.48 now and shred it. They won't take $1.48 and rip it. They'll take the $1.48 and they can go buy something to drink. They can go take the $1.48, even though the dollar store went up from $1 and you can go buy something for $1.25. You could take $1.48 and actually cover the cost of taxes by going to buy one item. So every time you meet somebody, you get 200 pieces. You taking $148 and you just hand it to different people who have no correlations, no relationship with you. You haven't built a rapport. You don't even know if they need your service or not. Your service may be for children and they're single, they don't have kids. They're not going to say, well, let me talk to my aunt that's in New York. Let me talk to my aunt that's in Canada. Let me talk to my aunt that's in Spain. Let me talk to my cousin that's in, Colombia. They're not going to do any of that. So all you know is that you put the fly that you paid $1.48 to, and it starts off at $2.97 for 200 pieces, and you're giving $1.48, $1.48, $1.48, $1.48, $1.48. Well, when you're thinking about marketing and you take the approach of the traditional way, and they talk about guerrilla marketing, you're just taking cash and actually just giving it to people, but you're converting it first into digital print. So you're not making the money, other people are making the money. And how is that heartbreaking? Because if we want to really sit down to it, the goal of it is to generate money. It's different if they're paying $1.48 for the flyer. So even if they don't, you still recoup and break even. But on top of all of that, you find yourself in a strict disadvantage, because that could become a hubris way that you continue to do business. I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. When someone asks you what is your marketing budget, that definition sometimes make people say, oh, wait, time out. They asking me about how much money I'm going to actually be spending. How much money is I'm going to just allow them to have access to? No, that's not necessarily true. What they want to know is, are you looking at this as a short-term project or is it a long-term project? Well, for you your company is an investment. It's the same investment it was for Boeing, except Boeing made planes. If you Lockheed Martin, it's defense, it's securities. So when you think about your business, you've already put the money to start your business. Now you're ready to market your business because you need to get more. So let me just give you an example, what I've told many people over the years as I'm consulting with them, because it helps them have a better understanding. Remember, we have birth certificates, but we take our birth certificates and we lock them away. We don't want nobody to have access to that. The same way we protect our social security number. Well, do you think your birth certificate going to be more popular than you? Is the overall goal to make your birth certificate become the person that everybody looks to? Or on the other hand, are you going to utilize your birth certificate and then think that your business is the same way, that my business representation is going to be more popular than me? And the answer is, I'm going to tell you, that's the fastest way to allocate funds towards marketing, where you're actually spending money in a way that you would not generate. The key to it is, when I think about your business, I want to think about your name. I understand that people are believing that their business can have a greater reputation than they do. Well, your business should last longer than you on the earth. But if you're sitting back, you say, you know what? I'm about to do marketing. I'm going to spend $2,000, and this $2,000 is going to help me sell whatever your value proposition is. Like for me, I use an example. Right now, I have this cup, CFS company. Let me explain to you. This cup was not designed when we got this cup. It wasn't designed for us to give to a customer or to sell online. You may find this in our store, but however, this was actually a prototype that we got before. How come I tell you that? I'm telling you that because this was money that was spent in a way that wasn't actually to sell cups, because we don't actually sell cups in the standpoint that we have a storefront where we sell cups to a UPC codes. That's not what we do. But I pointed it out to kind of help you out, get the idea, at least the concept down, that when it comes to marketing, we need to look at marketing as its own separate SKU. I call it the X factor. How do I make money? How do I legitimately make money without selling my product offer? Again, here's that riddle. How can I actually make money without selling my actual product that I currently have? That's the X factor. So my product that I got to go sell, whether it's a service that I offer, something that I offer, whether it's cleaning or anything, how do I actually be able to still make money without cleaning? If you're in cleaning, let's say you're in car wash. How do I make money without actually washing cars? How do I make money if I'm a designer and I make clothes? Like if I don't make clothes and then sell them, how do I still make money? Well, that's the S factor. That's what your marketing is for. It should be able to generate money without you actually doing what you normally do in order to generate money. See, because there's a difference. You want to look at your X factor. When it comes to it, most people think that the only way you can make money is that you actually have to have a product. Well, marketing actually is one way. Now, I'll give you an example. If you got a cell phone right now, and on your cell phone, you bought it brand new. And let's say you just got the iPhone 15. If you got the iPhone 15, if you can go outright and buy the cell phone, you can go to Apple Store, buy it. Then you can go to your phone carrier and say, I'm just going to buy the phone outright. If you buy that phone and you don't get a contract for cellular coverage, because I call it cell phones and contracts when I think about marketing. Well, if you get that cell phone and you just buy it outright, as long as you got access to internet, you can use Google. You can use Google Maps. You can go into, you can check. You can use Facebook, Instagram. All these things are built into it. And if you read the fine print after you buy the phone, it says that there is a partnership between these. So let me tell you, what does Instagram got to do if you buy a new iPhone? Nothing. They get paid when you buy an iPhone because it was built into the contract with Apple. So they have a strategic partnership. Most people don't realize that Apple makes a tremendous amount of money before they even sell an iPhone, with all of the different type of icons that's on the phone are built into the system that they pay for. Same thing if you're going to go get a Google product. People will say that, oh, Apple phones and Google phones are actually a competition. It's not true. How do we know? Because if Apple has that preset, those apps on your phone, it means they already have an agreement. So when you buy an iPhone today or you buy an Android device, regardless what type of phone that you get, it's already built into the agreement. And you have to say, well, do I have any strategic partnerships with anybody where I get the same type of friends benefit? And the answer is no. Then that means that what you're saying is, because I don't want to go out here and become more popular than my certificate. I'm just going to be honest with you. Most of you have never, ever seen Alphabet's certificate from the state of California. You never seen it. It sits somewhere probably on a wall, but it doesn't talk. It's not living. So when we think about our birth certificates, we're the living beings for the birth certificates. We want you to interact with us. When I think about Apple, from my experience, what I thought about Steve Jobs. After that, I think about Tim Cook. Who I think about Wozniak. Who else I think about? Steve Jobs' daughter, who has a lot of stock from whatever husband. Steve Jobs' ex-wife. I think about and his other kids. That's what I think about. When I think about Facebook, I think about Zuckerberg. And then if I don't think about Zuckerberg, I think about everyone else that was part of that startup. I think about the Brazilian guy. I don't remember his name right now. It's funny because I was about to say, what ends up happening when you see a movie, automatically you say, I think about Justin Timberlake, but he was not an owner. He played the actor. He played Sean. So I think about Sean. So you just take a step back. You say, wait a minute. I'm starting to think about people's names. When you think about Berkshire Hathaway, most of the time people think about Warren Buffett. The reality is he didn't find that company. There was somebody who founded that company. Berkshire Hathaway is actually not, and it is actually not. Buffett's not the founder of it. It used to be a textile company. The textile company is far been gone. It died. Lineage Textiles he used to have. So how does he operate the business now? As an investment company. The name is the only thing that remains. Everything else of Berkshire Hathaway is gone. It doesn't even, you won't even see it. The land it was on and everything, they knocked all that stuff down. So from a standpoint of understanding, then you have to accept that if I'm going to do marketing, it starts actually at a non-cost. It starts with me going out, but it's not networking. It's unfortunate that most people think that networking is marketing, when in reality it's not. It's distraction. Networking is going to different events where you're meeting people, and as you meet those individuals, they actually are not building partnerships. If you're an executive in your company, you're thinking about building partnerships. You're not thinking about networking. Networking is a way to distract you and also cause you to spend money. In an area where you've already invested in a company, you're now moving it along, you take the position where now you're going to be going out at night, meeting people, networking, passing out cards. And remember what I said earlier in the video. If you're out here passing out cards, that means you're giving up 48 cents, 68 cents. Just take what it costs you to do the cards. And if every card is $66, 66 cents, you're literally giving everybody 66 cents, 66 cents, 66 cents, 66 cents. You say you're networking, really you're spending money. You're not making money. You say, well, that's how are they gonna actually call me? Well, most of the time, people are going to call you because they have a relationship with you. This is that old adage where, you didn't spend enough time building a rapport. And the truth be told, you didn't spend enough time developing a partnership. There's two different types of strategic partnerships just that when it comes to marketing. We see it all the time. If you watch the Super Bowl, right, versus when you go to the Super Bowl or you go to a regular game, any form of game, you're going to see that there is a major sponsor at that location, which means it's a partnership, especially when you look at stadiums. Outside of a stadium, you're going to see the name of a bank or institution, which means they partner to build that and they have a stake in it. That's right. They built it they invested in that vehicle. So it's just not the football team that has that stadium. There's normally some bank that's involved in as well. And they got a stake in it until they get their money back along with whatever interest that they expect to be made. The Barclays Center. Well, the Barclays Center goes most likely, I believe 99% is going to have some affiliate that's with the Barclays Center that's let you know who's on the partnership agreement beyond just the players. We're talking about a strategic partnership where both people are actually interested in it. Now, I share that because in the struggles of entrepreneurship, if you're a startup, what you will do, I mean, no hesitation, what you will do is you would actually think marketing is going out buying a magnet for your vehicle, a signage for your location. That's really not the definition of a business. That's definition of so that's in business, they have things that are around the word business because business has to do with transactional. So if you're spending money, then you're doing business because you're doing transactional. I mean, if you're a business today and you say to yourself, I want to go out here and market myself, you want to market yourself. I want to go out here and market my product. Say, I want to market my product. I think that's a wonderful thing. The question is, how do you allocate funds? Let me give you an example. If you go out and you buy a magnet or you get business cards, the money was spent in a way not to generate revenue because if you go get a magnet, the magnet, people can't pay for the magnet. They can't put any signage on your magnet. So you think, well, it has my number on it. That may give me a call. I do understand you are actually spending your money in order to be noticed, but you're not actually spending your money in order to generate a profit. Please make sure you understand that. There is two separate, like, well, it can run into profit. The truth be told is it can only run into profit after you have a conversation and you build a rapport. That's the only way. I can assure you that if the statistics is if you go out and you do guerrilla marketing, you only get about 2% of the people that you solicit to give you a call. Of that 2% on guerrilla marketing, that's taking 20,000 pieces of 20,000 individual and getting it to 20,000 different people. You're going to capture about 2%. If you're really good at guerrilla marketing, say 8% max. Well, if we just take the 10% total, that's 2,000 people that will give you a call. Out of those 2,000 people that give you a call, because that's really what they're saying and I mean, I'm using 10%, but that is extremely high on any type of saturating the market. At the end of putting there's 20,000 pieces out there and seeing a 10% response, out of that 2,000 people, most likely you had about 850 they're going to probably be qualified. Qualified means they're in need of your service versus curious about your service. That means there's 1,200 people that are just curious, 800 people that's actually ready to do it. At the end of the day, if you started this business by yourself, that could pose a problem. First of all, that's a lot. You spent a lot of money to get 20,000 pieces of mail out there. And you have to make sure that once you do that you can also facilitate those services. Well, most people don't go out and they don't do that. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Most people don't go out and send out 20,000 pieces. Now, back in the day, I'm going to use two different analogies. Back in the day, as far as in nightlife, you could, and I'll say going back from 1990 all the way to about 2015. If you went to a shopping center and a person had an event or a night, you would normally get on your windshield, you would actually get a flyer for that nightclub. If you was in that same shopping center or within, a 2-mile radius of that shopping center, people would flyer the heck out of your car. You went to a mall, they'll flyer tell you about nightlife, and you come back and it's right there underneath your windshield wiper blade, or it's right there by where you grab the handle for your door. They will put it there. That was a common thing for nightlife. Depending upon where you was at, that was common. And people were like, okay, people going to come out. The amount of money that was spent where people didn't come, People say, well, we packed out. The reason it got packed out was over time you begin to develop relationships. In those relationships, my experience, I tell people I came from the nightlife business. For other than regular business, I ran nightlife. So when you're running, and I ran nightlife in early, like you're talking about, like from 2008 all the way to 2000 and about 2010, 11. I had got involved in a restaurant and had a nightlife, and it was at a Spanish club. I brought my family member, my brother in, and he was a DJ. I was a promoter. I had ran restaurants before. It was nothing new. I was in the restaurant business. From a very young age, I was in the restaurant business. And I seen all the ins and out of how much money is misappropriated just to be made aware of. This seems that what people are doing, they're actually spending a exorbitant amount of money basically saying this: because I'm either an introvert or I believe in my product, but I need customers. I'm going to just spend this money and let the money that I allocate, whether I buy flyers, business cards, whether I pay for marketing through Google ads or I pay a magazine, I'm paying you to get me clients. No, you're paying to get to, so that somebody will at least push it there so whoever interacts with it, they'll see it. That's not a transaction that's going to generate you money. You're spending money in a way. Now, let me give you an example. Let's say you have a business and you want me to market for you. I'm going to show you one of the simple facts, which is true. And that way you never forget this. And I say, well, it's going to be $300 and you can market with me. As soon as I do that, you give me $300, I made profit. You haven't made no profit yet. You haven't made anything. I convince you that you create a company, and pretty much what marketing has done to so many people is that it becomes something that is outsourced, which means everybody makes income before you do. That's traditionally what they have done in marketing. They outsourced it. They say, oh, you don't worry about it. I'll do it. You pay me to market. And what you're doing is they make profit as soon as you pay them. And then you haven't made profit yet. And then I do this every month. So I'm paying them $500. And at that $500, I need to be able to get that $500 back on an annual basis. So that could be $6,000 that you put out there in marketing. I don't care if it's a magazine. I don't care if it's TV, radio. And you're saying to yourself, but what ends up happening though, and I've learned this from being in nightlife business, putting on the radio, making sure bringing in acts and talents. At the end of the day, what you will find out is as you begin to meet people and have associations, the flyer only makes them aware of the place. But once they meet you, then you actually close them. But you have the misunderstanding. So after paying $6,000, you would say, well, look, my space is packed out. Well, I didn't do any of those things. I actually went traditionally against everything that people tell me. I went traditionally against it. Everything they thought it was marketing, I went against it. And I say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start off with the capacity. And it was a regular restaurant that had nightlife. My whole goal was to start from today. And as I began to work, every day I was going to go out and try to meet 300 people and introduce myself, tell them where my place is at. If they came out to the parking lot, I said, I'm not going to do the flyer thing. I'm literally going to build this slow. I'm going to go out and introduce people and invite them on a Wednesday night. I'm going to invite them on a Friday night. I'm going to invite them on a Saturday night. I'm going to invite them on a Sunday. And I built my entire thing on inviting people and letting them meet me. So when they came in there, I wanted them to look for me, not as a promoter, not as a nightclub owner, not as a restaurant manager. Come look for me. And then I will start your night for you. And I built my entire business on that. Matter of fact, we went so much past capacity. I had met so many people, and I gave myself a whole 12 months. I didn't have a short-term thought process. Like over the next 12 months, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to go after the capacity every day. By the time I got into the third, fourth month, we were at capacity. We were blown. We was at capacity so much that we did not want the fire marshal to ever visit the spot. And a couple of times the fire marshal got called, and you learn that valuable lesson, and you start keeping that line at the door the first time you violate that code issue with capacity. So you got to let some of these people out too. It's dangerous. You get that letter from the fire marshal, and I had to learn that the hard way. How come? Because I went beyond capacity. Back then in the state where I was at, you had to have an amusement fee. So you had to have a nightlife and pay the amusement fee. So we had dark. So we got to the point for having a restaurant, then having a nightlife, having slow nights to having packed nights. And I remember talking to my brother, and he was a DJ. I said, this is interesting. This is not going to take as long as I thought it was going to take. Now, this is somebody who just showed up on the scene and then got into nightlife because I had an invested interest in the restaurant itself, and I wanted to be able to get my money back. And since I had an invested interest in the restaurant, I wanted to make sure that not only did I get a return on my investment, that the business was running properly. Because prior to me getting involved in the business, it wasn't really being ran properly. I had money allocated. So I had to begin to learn what was marketing. I had to learn what it meant to spend money in a way to just get noticed, but not to make money. And if I can stop anybody from spending money in a way just to be noticed, I mean, listen, they have so many public forums that you can go to right now, and you can just post yourself as a consumer, showing that you spend money. You don't want to start a business and be in that same position. You don't want to go into a business where, you begin to do almost like a blog or a vlog where you're just showing people that you have a business and you really are being distracted away from your core value. The business is an investment. The goal is to make money. The goal is not to fill your phone up with contacts. Because if contacts was money, then a lot of us will have a lot of it if that's the point, because all we have is a bunch of people numbers. But I stick to a rule that doesn't allow that a whole lot. I never have more than 50 people at all, ever in my cell phone at any given time. And if I want to add somebody new, I got to look to see who's in my cell phone. I mean, it doesn't mean I don't forget their number. I may have it in a, I'm still a Rolodex guy, old guy, to have that sitting out, little card. But I'm just telling you, do not confuse networking with strategic corporation partnering. Don't do it. People continue to do it, but don't do it. So on Business Pro Tips today, I had a dialogue, pretty much a monologue, which I talked about marketing and branding and generating revenue from allocating funds are all different things. You want to build a brand, build that brand around a system where once that you can actually take a step back. If you build your brand and you take your marketing money and you spend it in a way that you will not get a return, just so that you can let people know. I mean, please don't get it mistake. Amazon in 1998, if you ever go back and catch the photo where he had tie-dye banner in his office, and you can literally see, I laugh about it from a standpoint was a lot of these companies have spent years doing the one thing that we avoid. That's gaining experience. Comfortability don't want you to gain skills and experience. Marketing requires for you to look at it as a SKU, its own business line, that when you begin to market, it generates money without you actually selling the product or your service, what I like to call your value proposition. Like, well, how can I actually, without selling my service, be able to make money without selling my service? That's the X factor. Every company must find out how they can literally sell air when it comes to their marketing dollars. That's exactly what it is. You're actually about to sell air to customers in a way that air generates money for you above and beyond your product or your service, your value proposition that you offer. If you can solve that riddle, and if you haven't solved that riddle, I highly suggest you like, subscribe. I highly suggest you dial that number that's in the body of this, so you see on our website. And you say, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been in business for a while, but I've never learned how to sell air. When I say that, literally, most people say sell air. Yes, it's where you're actually being able to sell the X factor of your business, and the X factor is always something in this regards. It has nothing to do with your product or service, but the fact of your name. If your name is, let's say, Tortitos, not Tostitos, Tortitos. So it's a play on words, but let's say if that's what your goal is, how do you actually make money from your marketing versus leverage marketing to actually, and I'm gonna tell you this, people make this mistake. They actually leverage marketing to bring down the value of their product. And they say they marketing. If your product costs $1 and you spend $2 on every marketing, your product does only cost $1. You spent $2, you're down -$1. If you really dig it down at this particular, I mean, if you get the $1 back and you spent $2, then you down to -$1. You broke even. You didn't actually make no money. So I mean, if you're spending an extra $100 a month, and your price remain the same, you're not making money. You just made your product that I don't care what it is in your store. At least if you pay $100, you need to take that $100 divided over a few items that you have inside your store, and everything goes up by that difference. If you want to say 100 items, it's $100. Something is 12, is now 13. How come? How you gonna get the $100 back? You haven't even calculated that into your overall analysis. So like, well, my price is already too high. So now you have a situation where you spend $100 a month. Your product is $12. The product should be listed, at least for the next 100 that you sell, should be listed at 13. And you taking a discount saying they now 10. You just giving money away. It's like the business card. The business card costs 66 cents after getting let's say you got 500 made. Out of 500 made, you paid a certain amount of money, there's 66 cents. And somebody say, can I have your business card? You never do business with them, but you exchange cards, you take their cards. You just gave each other 66 cents. So it's not shipping, guys. It shouldn't be viewed as a non-added value cost. These things are critical to understand. When you're a small business owner or a person, small business owner is really not a thing. It's actually small-minded. But, if you consider yourself a small business owner, you just allocating funds in a way that you're losing it. I get it. Everybody has to be excited, but it's not the way that you should be. So on today's show, I wanted to just simply tell you, marketing versus spending money are two separate things. Marketing is strategic partnering. It is not even networking. It's literally partnering with another corporation, another company, where your cost is actually attached to what their offer is, and it's a complement to what you do. And when they sell their product, you get paid too. What people are doing now is that they're not actually doing business partnering. They literally are going out here and they're actually paying individuals so they can get their name out there. And if that's what you want to do, that's networking. The problem with networking is it's not profitable. It literally is not profitable. That's something that you do as a consumer, but as a business that you're starting up, you're looking to return. Remember, this is an investment for you. This is what your goal was. You want to go out and utilize this as a way for you to actually get a return. Instead of you may have a full-time job. This is your part-time gig. And as this being your part-time gig, you're saying to yourself, I want to make an extra $500. But how can you make it if you already put $1,000 into this product? You now put another $1,000 in marketing to the product, and then you got it priced wrong. You got it priced wrong because you was thinking in your mind that when I started my business and my item was $1 and you went and paid $600 in marketing, the next couple of items, you can't sell your product for $1. You just put $600 in marketing. And if you got 600 items and you put 600 in marketing, you'll break even. Literally your product can't be $1. You can't spend that. You down. If you sold each thing for $1 after putting 600 in marketing on the 600 items, you break even at $2. You get back the money to either make to manufacture whatever it is that your product or maybe it's a service you don't have to manufacture, but at least you get your $1 back. Plus you get your marketing $1 back. If you left it at that at just $1, the disadvantage is that you didn't make any profit. You're kind of still standing still. So some people continue to create that over and over again. They keep doing it. Then they say, well, I spent 600 and that didn't work. I'm gonna spend another 600. Well, you got 600 items. Your product is still $1. If you sold that $1, you just gave away $3. 2 cycles of marketing plus the original $1. You're actually not doing well in business at this point. Your item would have to go up to be $3. People don't realize that when you add dollars on top of a service or product, it has to increase. How do you get the money back so you can keep doing marketing? You can't keep throwing money at a item or a product that you offer and not increase the price by the additional cost of it. That's part of the cost of when you break down your costs, you're going to have your raw materials, if it's a product or service, then you're going to have your labor costs in that. And then you're going to also have the cost of your cell phone, your office. All of those things are cost. And at the end of the day, you selling it for $1 and you already had 3 cycles of marketing where you spent $1,800 with another additional $600 coming in next month. There is no way that price on that flyer or that notification is $1 at that point. But most small businesses don't understand that. They really don't. I accept that is the norm until you bump into someone and say that's not normal. And, I point that out because, in times like this where we're in an inflationary period, you need to really think about how you're allocating your funds and making sure your price point is right and making sure you don't end up having a negative item. So not only you have a business, it's not an investment. It's not just something to say, I'm an executive. Let me tell you, I have a business where I give money away for a living and I'm a for-profit, but I function, my mentality, my ego tells you I'm a nonprofit. Is that what you're doing? Well, you're definitely going to like next Monday's business pro tip if that's the case, because we're going to talk about fearless versus reckless. And when we talk about fearless versus reckless, you're going to begin to realize what the difference is and why marketing versus spending money you should never do. Definitely, if you never like, subscribe, or followed our channel before, I definitely want to tell you to do so now. I'm happy to just tell everyone thank you for tuning in tonight for the people who did come on. And I look forward to speaking to you because, what's coming up next is Friday. Don't forget to check us out on Friday. If you have a business and your business consists of services or products and you are having a difficult time and you said, I wish I knew somebody have experience, don't forget to call the number in the body of the screen. One of the things CFS Studio we do is we actually do consulting for businesses, and everything that even more what I went over in this video is actually there. And this is to help you so you can stay in business and also begin to fine tune your numbers. Again, at the end of the day, please do not think marketing and people say, oh, I'm just branding. It's not like shipping. It's not a non-added value cost. It's a misunderstanding. Do you realize that when you order something from Amazon, unless it's really close, they'll tell you that, because you already paid the service fee for Amazon Prime, that you can skip shipping. No, you pay Prime fee. And Amazon ships so much that they got a piece market, they get a piece partial rate that is phenomenal because of the years of them building that infrastructure, that they can afford to do that. I mean, their companies ship so much items on a daily basis that it's almost like when I order something and it's coming from China and I see it on the notice, they pay 88 cents. Like, how in the world they ship something international 88 cents? And I ship something internationally, it almost costs $250. Even if it's in a small pack, it's over $100 for international shipping. How did they get this thing done on Chinese currency at 88 cents or $6.22 in Chinese currency? How do they do it? Volume. How do they do it? Relationship. How do they do it? The difference in imports than the US dollar versus the Chinese dollar. And you're going to see it a lot. So there's a lot to come up on our show, a lot of things we're going to talk about, a lot of opportunities where you can continue to learn and glean. Don't forget to check out Monday's show. Don't forget to check out some of our other videos that we have on our screen. And if you're a business owner, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow our channel. We're going to make sure you get the information that you need so you can be successful and stay in business. One of the keys is staying in business. I'll see you next Monday for Monday's Business Pro Tips. Have a great evening.